Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Friday the 27th of May 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the local market had a strong day, rising more than 1% to finish the week at 7,182.7 points. It's been a seesawing type of week, but the bourse actually finished higher than where it started Monday morning. There were some strong performers among the large caps today. Macquarie Group was up nearly 3%. BHP jumped 2.7%, Rio did the same. Aristocrat Leisure rose 2.5%. While all the banks were higher, none outperformed the broader market. And in fact, National Australia Bank, Westpac and ANZ underperformed. Fortescue Metals was a laggard, down more than 1%. Energy stocks did well, with the newly named Woodside Energy up more than 3%. Best on the day was US-based gaming group PointsBet, which rose 14%. Worst was software group Appen. I'll tell you about that shortly. It was a pretty good day for the Aussie dollar. It hit almost 71.5 US cents, its highest in more than 3 weeks, thanks to strong retail sales figures. Story number 2, a funny day in politics. Anthony Albanese is receiving olive branches of a sort all over the place. French President Emmanuel Macron, he who called Scott Morrison a liar, congratulated Mr. Albanese on his win in a phone call and signalled a rebuild of relations between France and Australia. Then China's embassy in Canberra released a statement defending the country's influence in the Pacific region, saying Beijing respected the historical and traditional ties between Australia and the Pacific Islands. Australia and China should join hands to achieve goals using unique contributions from both, the embassy said. Okay, it's not exactly the same as dropping restrictions on Australian exports, but at least the two countries are talking. Back home, Mr. Albanese flagged additional measures to help ease the cost of living, though will stop short of doing what the UK government did overnight. It put a tax on oil and gas company profits. The Prime Minister also said the government would make a submission to the Fair Work Commission, but won't put a number on what it thinks should be the increase in the minimum wage. Story number 3, retail sales hit a record high during April, up 0.9%. It was a 4th consecutive monthly rise in turnover and was driven by spending across food industries. Part of that reflects higher food prices, but also people went out and travelled more over the Easter period. In fact, it's the first time since before the pandemic that both food retailing, think supermarkets, jumped along with cafes, restaurants and takeaway food services. Both rose. Clearly, we all ate much more in April. The 2 areas where sales fell were household goods retailing and department stores. Story number 4. Yesterday, I told you about a bid for Appen, the artificial intelligence software group by Canadian suitor TELUS International. Well, it lasted about 10 hours and this morning was pulled. In fortuitous timing, the company also held its AGM this morning. Chair Richard Freudenstein said the two companies had agreed on a confidentiality deal but had not signed it before the story was leaked to the media. TELUS then walked away without explanation. Perhaps the downgrade in profit from Appen had something to do with it. There'll be a few shareholders smarting. News of the bid triggered a 29% rise in Appen's share price yesterday before the stock was halted. It came back on today and tumbled 22%. Someone got burnt. And finally, story number 5. In the United States this morning, Broadcom agreed to buy cloud computing company VMware for about $61 billion US. One of the biggest technology deals in history. It pushes the chip maker into corporate software and follows mega deals over the past 3 years, including the purchase of CA Technologies and Symantec. Broadcom is now one of the most valuable companies in the semiconductor chip industry, selling components for everything from iPhones to industrial equipment. It's also benefiting from the growth in cloud computing services. The company's share price jumped almost 4% this morning after the announcement, which in itself is usual given they're spending the money. Broadcom is worth around $225 billion US. That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 27th of May, 2022. Michael Thompson, Adam Lang and I will be back tomorrow morning for the weekend edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.